Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me. Today, I have an exciting video for you guys. Today, I will be sharing with you my 5 top tips for a beginning colorist. Now, I have also started a playlist that's entitled Beginner's Guide to Beautiful and Easy Coloring. So I'm going to compile a whole playlist for both beginning colorists and those of you who are experienced but kind of want to change your coloring style or wanting to try new things in your coloring process. Maybe you always use markers and now you want to try to get into colored pencil, or maybe you use colored pencil and now you're trying to get into markers. This will be the perfect playlist for you to just binge watch. So I'm just starting to compile this whole large playlist so that you can just watch all of my tips and tricks and easy methods of how I learned how to color. The reason I titled it Beautiful and Easy Coloring is because I feel my method of coloring is super simple. My methods are unique, yet they achieve the same result as some colorists who maybe layer and blend and highlight and do all these difficult astronomical steps. I feel that my coloring method allows me to quickly achieve those same results in minimum effort. So that's what I want to extend to you guys in this series that I'm creating. I want to share with you how I achieve those results by doing less numbers of steps. So don't forget to check the playlist out. It will be linked at the end of this video. There's only a few videos in it right now, but trust me, there are going to be a lot more in this series. I actually am going to have a video to come up right after this one that's coming in this series that's going to be called How to Improve Your Skills to Become a Better Colorist. That's going to be episode 2, so look out for that one. All right, let's jump right into this, guys. So, tip number 1 is buy a mid-grade pencil, and that's talking about supplies and books. Now, when I say mid-grade, let me show you what I mean. Well, it's kind of like mid-grade budget, but like mid-price range. And I mean something like this. Okay, now I know you're probably saying, okay, wait a minute, that's not mid-range or mid-price range. That's a budget pencil. Actually, guys, your budget pencils are the Crayola, the Rose Art, the Prang, or the Crazy Art pencils. These are genuine budget pencils. So you can probably get 120 Crayola pencils for around $15, at the most $20, at the very most. Or you can get a set of Crazy Art pencils at the very most for like $12, $15. So those are super budget friendly pencils, and many people start out with those pencils, and that's perfectly fine. That's what I did. Crayola was actually my second pencil that I got. These were actually my first. And let me tell you, these pencils had me thinking I was the worst colorist in the universe. I immediately out of the gate watched so many YouTube videos and techniques to try to blend and layer and shade. And these pencils just were not getting the job done. So I was like, well, maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. But most of the people I was watching was using Prismacolor, Polychromos, all these expensive pencils that I said, okay, in the beginning of my journey, I will not be able to get those pencils, not even a small set, because I was just starting out coloring and I didn't know if I was going to stick with this hobby. That was 3 years ago. So I went to my local fabric art store, Joann's Fabric, and I saw these and they were a decent price. I think they were like $10. And I was like, oh, $10 for 30 pencils. That's the same as I can pay for the Crayola pencils at that time. So I picked these up, and it was horrible, guys. I'm going to show you some of the pictures that I colored with these, and it was pretty bad. So with all of that being said, I would advise you to go with an upper class budget pencil when you're first starting out. And this is what I mean by an upper class budget pencils. These are a little more expensive than the Crayolas, than your Rose Art, Praying, and Crazy Arts. You could get a set like these for like $30, maybe $40 for a big set, 174 colors. But actually that many colors for a beginner is kind of unnecessary. 120 or 72 will be perfectly fine for a beginner. But get something that's budget friendly yet good quality. So these are a very good pick for a beginning colorist. And also, if you can't find those, there are so many companies that are making the exact same type of those pencils. I see Sue Color has a 180 pack of those exact pencils now. Brute Funner, these pencils in here are the exact same premium quality as the Shuttle Art pencils. And there are quite a few more that are exactly the same quality. Your Magic Fly pencils, they are exactly, I've heard, kind of like the Arteza pencils. And there's just so many, but those are higher quality budget pencils. They are not quite super budget like Crayola. So if you can afford to get something a little bit more expensive or better quality than Crayola or Crazy Art, I would advise you to do that because they don't quite blend as well as some of these more expensive budget pencils. And I also would just like to share with you pencils like Castle Art or Farben. They're a little bit on the mid-range budget side, but these will be a great pencil to start with. Or the Farben, if you want to start with an oil-based pencil, you can get those. So try and get a mid-budget pencil. Even a pencil like Sivo with only 36 colors. You can get a set of these on Amazon for like $10, $12. But they're a good set because they're good pigments. But make sure you do your research. Look at the reviews. Watch YouTube videos on the best colored pencils for your budget. Try and see if anyone is actually coloring pictures with those pencils that you're looking for. If people are coloring pencils with Crayola and you're seeing multiple pictures being colored and they're beautiful, then get those. But make sure you do your research and watch videos such as the one you're watching now so that you can see what quality of pencils people already have and what they're saying about them. Now, this is my first large set of pencils. These are the Hero Guanghui oil-based colored pencils. They're 168 in count, and I was so happy to get these. These are my first large set of pencils before I got my large set of Prismacolor, because I was just refusing to pay $100 at the beginning of my coloring journey for a set of colored pencils when I didn't know if I was really going to stick with it or not. So I got these and I was very happy with these. I colored some very nice pictures with these. Let me show you a picture that I colored with them. So here's one of the pictures that I colored with the Hero pencils. It's out of the Saturday Evening Post by Creative Haven, Americana. I colored this picture with the Hero pencils. And they were very nice to use, but they weren't amazing. You know, they didn't really, you know, do it for me. They didn't blend super well, but they were better than what I had. So the first set of pencils that I got were those Joann's pencils that were horrible. The second set of pencils I got were the Crayola pencils, and they were definitely a step up. These were my third set of colored pencils because I wanted more colors. I wanted a larger set, but I would not recommend getting these if you are a beginner colorist, because these are supposed to be oil-based, and an oil-based pencil is a little bit harder to work with than a wax-based pencil. So those Brute Funners are actually marketed as an oil-based pencil, but they kind of don't feel as much like an oil-based pencil as these do. The Shuttle Art 174 are marketed as a wax-based pencil, and they feel like a mixture between a Prisma and a Polycolor. And I will link the video here of my review of those Shuttle Art pencils, how they remind me so much of a Polychromos. But like I said, the Hero Guanghui pencils, I wouldn't recommend you to get these. And these are also under other names like the One Shui, the Sioux Color, Shuttle Art. Let's see, what else? There's so many other names that these pencils are under. If you see a pencil with the barrel that looks like this, that has all the whole barrel is colored and it has that number like that on them, that means that that's a Chinese made mass manufactured colored pencil that's going to be pretty much the same as all the rest of them. So these are the pencils that was hot 3 years ago and everyone was trying to get them, but they've kind of died out in popularity because now we have the companies that are coming out with these types of pencils, and they are amazing. The budget-friendly area marketing has really stepped up their game with making quality colored pencils. So I wouldn't recommend you to get the One Shui, these, or the South Sun. Don't get these to start out with. Get the Shuttle Art with the black barrel and the dipped in, or the Brute Funner that have the black barrel and the dipped in. Another thing that you can try to invest in is if you can't get the larger set of the Prismacolor pencils. I absolutely love my Prismacolor pencils. I actually got my large 150 set after the Guanghui 168 set. After I worked with them, I wasn't enjoying them. I had a hard time finding the pencils because they only had a number on it. And finally, the Prismacolors went down in price about 2 years ago, to like $60, $69. And I snagged me a couple of sets then. But I actually got a 24 set of the Prismacolors, before I got the 150 set. And I actually got this set, the Prismacolor Scholars, before I got the 24 Premiers. These 48 Prismacolor Scholars were my first good pencil. They were only like $14 at the time. The price of them have went up, but this is the student line of Prisma pencils, and they are the closest thing in softness that you can get to a Prismacolor. People are always asking, well, what budget pencil is as soft as the Prismacolor? There is no pencil out there that I have found and that anyone else has found that's as soft as the Prismacolor pencil. They are in a league of their own. But the key to those guys, they are so easy to layer and blend and just maneuver the pencil in a way that you can just make a beautiful coloring. But these are actually a great pencil, the Scholars. This was my second favorite set out of all my sets behind the Prismacolor Premier because they were so much like the Prisma Premier. They're a tiny bit harder, but they are so close you can't get closer. So I wouldn't recommend getting these because the price of them have went up so much. But when I bought them, like I said, they were the same price as a box of Crayolas. So I would really love to get the 60 set of these, but they're just outrageous. I don't know why they're trying to charge so much for the student line, but hey, prices fluctuate all the time. They might go down, but this is an amazing pencil close to the Prismas. But like I was saying, if you can't afford to get a huge set of Prismas, which is my #1 pick for a beginner because they're so easy to work with, get a smaller set. The 72 set usually runs around the same price as a 120 set or the 72 set of the Castle Art and the Arteza pencils. They run around the same price. So why not get an actual artist grade pencil for around the same price? Also, you can get smaller sets of high-end pencils. I have another video that I'm going to link above that talks about how to have cheat codes when it comes to your high-end pencils. That video shows how you can take a smaller amount of quality artist grade pencils and turn them into a huge set of pencils just by doing this one trick. And you'll see that in that video that I link here. So that is what you can do as a beginner colorist. Don't buy your cheapest supply or your least expensive so-called supply, because it'll have you thinking that, hey, I'm not a good colorist. My pictures don't look like everyone on YouTube's. That's actually because of the supply. But let me tell you, Crayola, Crazy Art, those pencils are amazing. You can do a lot of things with them, but they are limited. They limit your skills to kind of straight coloring. And if you don't want to just straight color, if you want to experiment with blending and layering and shadows and highlights, you're going to need a pencil that has the capability to do those things. And the only pencils that's going to have the capability to do those things is either an artist grade pencil or a budget pencil that's a little more expensive than the, kids line pencils that you can find at Walmart and so forth. So again, my number one picks are the Shuttle Arts, the Sioux Color, the Brute Funner that have the black barrel. I also recommend like the Star Joy Deli colored pencils. They are very nice, but those are oil based and they're a little bit harder to work with than the wax based. So that's another little bonus tip too. If you're a beginner colorist, make sure you get a wax based pencil, one that has a lot of pigment in it, but wax based and soft, so that you can do more blending and layering and work with it a little bit easier. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, don't buy every budget pencil or cheap coloring book just because it's cheap in price. Why not? Guys, this is the mistake that I made when I began adult coloring. Every pencil that I saw on Facebook, on YouTube, that was a budget-friendly pencil that came out and everybody was ranting and raving about them, I had to buy them. I just had to get it. And that led me to having a bunch of supplies that I did not enjoy using, that just built up in my collection, and I just never used them. So now I have all of these pencil sets that I'll never use because I don't enjoy using them because of the way that they color, because my coloring style has changed and my methods have changed and they don't fit in with the way I color, or they don't have names on them or numbers on them, and I just don't like that. That's what I ended up with by buying every single pencil that came out. And I still have to fight that tendency now today, because when people are saying, oh man, the Brute Funners, they're amazing, it's 180 colors. And then I find out that the Shuttle Art and the Brute Funner, the black barrel ones, they're exactly the same. They color the same. So I have 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets of the exact same type of pencils in my collection. And it becomes expensive, and also about the books. Every time I saw a book that was under $3, I grabbed it. I mean, it was just, if I saw them at the dollar store, I grabbed it. And I ended up with so many books that I don't even like the images in them anymore. I didn't really know what type of books or supplies that I liked at the beginning. So my advice to you is do your research first on the pencils or pens or markers. Buy yourself one large set of gel pens, one large set of markers, one large set of colored pencils, and do your research to see which colored pencils, which markers, which pens are of good quality, and just let that be it for a little while. Buy you an oil-based set and a wax-based set, and that's it. Don't just keep going out there buying and buying and buying and buying, or you're going to have so much in your collection and it's going to get overwhelming. And you could have spent that money on a set of pencils or a book that you really, really like. And your style and your preferences, they're going to change down the line. So I have all of these books that have images in them, and they're double-sided. I don't like double-sided books because I'm limited to only using a certain type of medium or coloring supply in them. So now I'm stuck with all these books that, you know, I don't really enjoy coloring. They have a lot of wallpaper patterns, and I don't like coloring those types of things. But guess what? I have all of these books with these images in it. So just buy a couple of books, look on YouTube, find some flip throughs. And if you say, oh, I want to try coloring mandalas, then, you know, get you one mandala book and be happy with that. And you say, oh, I want to try to color people. Get you one people fashion book and be happy with that, and not keep buying them just because they're $2 and $3 and $4 and because everyone says this is the hot book right now. Don't do it, please. It's like the worst thing in the world to do when you spend your money on something that you end up not liking. So it just sits in your collection and you'll end up having to give it away or gift it, which there's nothing wrong with that. But 9 out of 10, you're going to color a page out of the book, and you don't really want to gift a person a book that, you know, especially a stranger, or you don't want to try to sell a book that you've colored in. You know, you can do it, but hey, I wouldn't. So for me, at the beginning, I didn't like mandalas. You know, I did not like mandala images. You know, there's a few mandala images in here, and I was like, at the beginning, I was like, no, I'm not really a mandala person. So I didn't really like those books. But guess what, guys? Guess what? After so long, after I've discovered what type of coloring I like, I have went back to trying mandalas. These are 2 new books that I purchased. And I said, well, you know what? I really need to try and get into mandalas because I really wanted, I love coloring intricate coloring pages. I love coloring home decor, fashion, you know, different things like that. But I said, I need something that I can actually relax doing. Something that I can mindlessly color, sit in front of the television and just color. Because the books that I usually color in, they're very intricate and detailed, and I want to take my time and pay attention to those. So I've actually went back to mandalas. At the beginning, I said, I'll never color a mandala. I don't like mandalas. Oh, they're horrible. But now, 3 years later, I went purchase mandala books because they weren't in my collection, because I stopped buying books that I didn't really like. So with that tip, please don't just fill up your collection at the beginning of your journey. Now, I'm not saying once you've gotten down the road 6, 7, 8 months, a year, 2 years, not to fill up your collection, because my coloring book collection is outrageous. But at the beginning, I regret that I bought so many books and supplies that I did not enjoy. I regret that because I could have been using that money to buy supplies and books that I enjoy now. So if you're just starting out and you really don't know what you like, just buy a small amount of it, do your research, and then just hold off. Because I would buy 2 and 3 copies of the same book, you know, because it was $1. Like these books, they were at the Dollar Tree. these particular books, and I got them for only $1. So I bought 2 or 3 copies. Instead of buying 1 copy like I should have, I bought 2 and 3 copies of every one that I could find. That was a horrible, horrible mistake because I was afraid, hey, I might love this and I might color in it and it'll be gone. I'll never see that book again. Then it won't be $1. Mistakes. The mistakes that I've made, don't let my mistakes be your mistakes. Please learn from my mistakes. Just buy that 1 copy and be done with it. So that is my tip number 2. Don't buy every supply and every cheap book and every cheap supply just because of the hype or just because it's cheap. Just hold off on it until you know what you like. Get you 1 quality book, 1 quality supply, and just use that for a little while, and then go to the next level. Once you've played with that for a while, go to another type of book. You might start with mandalas. You see that you don't like mandalas and you say, okay, I'm gonna buy a book with interior design in it or nature scenes. Then go buy one of those types of books and try it out for a little while. Don't be like me and just buy them all at the same time and just have all these books laying around and you're looking at them like, I don't like this. Just stick with that and learn what you like at the beginning of your journey. Okay, tip number 3. Figure out or find your coloring style, technique, or preference from the beginning. Okay, now you might be saying, well, how am I going to find my style or my technique or, how am I going to find that from the beginning? Well, trust that you already know what you like. You know what you used to color as a kid. When you were a kid, did you like coloring in the Barbie coloring books? Coloring the fashion, coloring the people, coloring the hair, making them look different? Or did you like coloring flowers? Did you like coloring hearts, butterflies, just all those different things? What did you like coloring as a kid? That's what you're going to enjoy coloring as an adult. So if you didn't enjoy coloring people as a child, you're not going to enjoy it most likely at the beginning of your coloring journey as an adult. So start out with what you know you like. And that goes for supplies also. If you used crayons when you were a kid and not colored pencils, then I guarantee you colored pencils may not be what you need to start with. You may need to start with crayons, or you may need to start with markers, something that'll give you, saturated color very fast. Or if you started with color pencils when you were a kid and you really enjoyed them, you're going to enjoy them as a beginning colorist as an adult. So just look back and figure out how you like to color. Now, as a child, you remember how we used to outline the picture and then color inside of the lines very lightly. I discovered that I like bold, saturated, rich colors and rich colorings in my color. I did not like that light coloring work. How you barely touch the page with the crayon and I didn't like that. That wasn't my preference as a kid. I liked the bold colors where you didn't see any of the white on the paper. It was just saturated and smooth. That's what I liked. And I find that that's what I like as an adult also. So your technique is very important, how you can determine what type of technique you have. Are you a heavy-handed colorist? Are you a light-handed colorist? Do you prefer that bold color saturation, or do you prefer light pastel-y types of colors and, different things like that? Well, if you were a heavy-handed colorist as a child, more than likely you'll be a heavy-handed colorist as an adult. So you listening to the advice of other people saying, well, in order for this supply to work, you have to be light-handed. In order for your Prismacolors not to break all the time, you have to be light-handed. You have to use 1,000 layers. That's not always true, guys. Find out whether you're heavy-handed or whether you're light-handed, and then find a colorist who has that same type of coloring technique. So I'm just going to let you know right off the bat, I am a heavy-handed colorist. I hold the pencil with a deft grip, and I'm down, bearing down with those Prismacolors or whatever it is I'm coloring, I was given the advice at the beginning to, you know, be a light-handed colorist, and it just was not working for me. It was not, you know. So what I did, I'm going to show you guys where I started in my coloring journey. So let's see, here it is. Get ready to be shocked, okay? I'm going to show you my first picture that I ever colored, okay? And it's kind of embarrassing to share this with you, but I figured, hey, you need to see it. You need to know where I've been and where I've come from and how I've improved, because I want for you to be able to have that same, you know, result. Yes, guys. Yes, this hot mess is my first coloring that I colored on July the 8th, 2017. And I colored it with Crayola crayons and gel pens. And I used some of the colored pencils that I told you were horrible that I first got, which were these. And I told you they made me think I was a crappy colorist. So yes, guys, this is my first picture that I ever colored, and I absolutely hate it. But that's why I'm giving you these tips as a beginning colorist, so that you won't have to experience this, because I was depressed after this picture. I was like, oh my gosh, this is, if all of my pictures are going to look like this, then no, count me out. I don't want to do this. So that's what I mean by find your coloring style. Just by looking at this one picture, I could tell that the type of colorist I was going to be was a colorist that liked bold, rich, saturated colors. I was not the pastel-y, light-handed type of colorist type of chick, okay? So now let's go to the second picture that I colored. Now, I colored these with pencil, marker, and gel pens, and some eyeshadow for the background. And this was only one day later. One day later, I improved from this, because I was like, there is no way this is okay, to this. This is a drastic difference. Now, you might be like, okay, one day, how did you get from there to there? You see, I went watched YouTube videos that whole night, and I tried to do a little shading. I tried to do a background. And you see how those colored pencils, the texture that's on there, how they didn't blend very well. It was just horrible, guys. I was like, this is the best I can do. And the pencils did not help me at all because they were such bad quality. But I tried to follow the advice of the colorists on YouTube that said you have to be light-handed in order to achieve anything, and you have to put a lot of layers down. So I tried that, and it turned out better, but it's still, I wasn't happy with the result. I wasn't happy to, you know, with those light layers and them telling me to hold my pencil. See, I can't even hold it like that now. They told me to hold my pencil way back on the barrel, and I tried that, and that didn't work because I kept going outside of the lines because I just can't control my pencil when I'm holding it way back here. But the colorists were telling me on YouTube, that's what you got to do to get it, you know, to look right. But they were using a different type of pencil too. So I just want to share, you know, just tell you guys that, you know, hey, find your style. Find what, you know, what you like, whether you like those saturated colors, whether you're going to be heavy-handed or light-handed. Find that and grow from there. So it's going to be, a bit of a journey, but, it's, if all else fails, find someone on YouTube that colors the way that you would like to color eventually. So you may be light-handed right now, but you may see a YouTuber, that say I'm heavy-handed and this is how my pictures turn out. It's okay for you to be light-handed and just watch them and see what kind of techniques that they put in place. Like, for example, Chris Chang, I think she's a heavy-handed colorist, because her pictures always come out in these deep, rich, bold colors. And she don't do a whole lot of layers, but she does layer, but not as much as some other colorists, for example, like Pencil Stash, Rachel from Pencil Stash. Now, she's a very light-handed colorist where her pictures come out very pastel-y, and she holds her pencil way back on the barrel and she barely touches the paper. So just watch those type of colorists and see which style you can see yourself coloring in. But don't get me wrong, you can learn from both of those styles, because one picture may require you to use more pastel-y colors and to do more blending and layering and shading. But then another picture may require you to be a little more heavy-handed and have more bold, saturated colors. It's just, you can just flip back and forth, from one thing to another if you like. There is no right or no wrong in this hobby, okay? Now, tip number 4, don't follow the hype. Now, I know you were like, wait a minute, what does that mean? That means take every piece of advice with a grain of salt. Like I said, I was told with my Prismacolor pencils to be very light-handed. I tried that, and I did not like the way my colorings would turn out. I was told that you had to hold the barrel very far from the end, and color like this. And I was like, okay, that's making me color outside of the lines. So it's kind of like, it's just like advice in life. Take what you need to take to improve and then leave the rest for later on in another lifetime, okay? So it's just, listen to the different pieces of advice and just kind of apply what you need to apply at that moment. So a lot of people were telling me too at the beginning of my journey that really frustrated me was, you have to buy artist grade, expensive pencils in order to get the best results on your coloring pages, or to get beautiful coloring pages at all. You had to get Prismas or Polys. And when I heard that, that was so discouraging, because I was like, I can't afford those pencils, or I don't want to spend that type of money on those pencils right now at the beginning of my journey. So don't let that make you feel bad when someone tells you, well, you have to have Prismas or you have to have Faber-Castells to have a nice picture. Don't let that discourage you into saying, well, my picture is junk. My pictures are going to be basic and not nice because I'm not using a high quality material. You can get amazing, amazing pictures from Crayola, from Crazy Art, from the budget pencils that have come out recently, like the Shuttle Art pencils or the Guanghui or the One Shui. You can get beautiful results from those pencils. So number 4, take every piece of advice with a grain of salt. Don't take it to heart. Just don't say, okay, well, this is what I need, and that's the end of the discussion, or, just take it and try to use what you need and discard what you don't, okay? All right. Tip number 5, which is my last tip, except for the bonus tip. Number 5, ask for advice. Search for advice. Research in multiple places the different types or different styles of different colorists. Don't just kind of get caught up in the mold of, this type of colorist uses Prismacolors all the time, and I have Prismacolor, so I'm just going to watch this person. go in different places, you know, watch different colorists and see how they formulate their pictures. What do they do? And try to dissect it where you're saying, okay, they're using 10 layers and this is the result that they're getting. Or this person is using 2 layers and this is the result that they're getting. And see if that's something that you would like to follow in your coloring. Also, when you get on Facebook or when you watch a YouTube video, when you comment at the bottom, ask for more details about a supply. You know, ask about the makeup and the feel about that supply, because, hey, your curiosity is what's going to help you in this journey. Ask that person, hey, how does that supply or that pencil or that marker, how does it feel in your hand? Or is that lead soft? Are the leads firm? Before you go out there and buy them, find out about that supply, you know? So it's just important for you to get as much knowledge as you can before you run off and have all of this stuff that you just will never use. I feel that if you just have it sitting on your shelf forever, that's why I created the tag Crash Your Stash, so that I can get through some of this stuff that I bought years ago that I've never touched. That is just unacceptable for you, Nisi, okay? I'm talking to myself, and I need you guys to help me to remain and stay accountable for this, okay? So guys, that's my tip number 5. Look for advice. Ask for advice. Do your research. And don't be afraid to just bombard people with questions. It's okay. If they don't want to, if they get tired of answering them, then they'll stop answering them. But you ask those questions, you know, hey, does that pencil give wax bloom? Is it really waxy? How does, you know, just ask away. And then if they get irritated or something, then just move on to the next person and ask them. All right, guys, those are my 5 tips. But guess what? I have a bonus tip for you. When you're using an unfamiliar supply or a supply that, you know, you're not too sure about, make a copy of your coloring page. And this is what I should have done from the beginning, because a lot of my books, I was intimidated to color in them because I was afraid I was going to mess them up. So make a copy of the pictures that you want to color. You buy the book, and then you maybe make a copy of them so that you can comfortably color that picture, screw it up if possible, and then color it again and see the improvements that you need to make, because that's what kept me from, you know, coloring in a lot of my books. I was scared I was gonna, you know, ruin them. So I just didn't color them at all. But then I discovered the art of copying your coloring pages. Or buy a PDF of certain books so that you can just reprint that same image and not be afraid to mess them up. Another thing is try different mediums, you know, a couple of times, you know, just if you're not really a pencil person, then, you know, get you a small set of pencils and just try them out a few times and just see how you like it, how you can improve. Don't just be stuck in one mold, because this hobby is so vast and so amazing and so fun. You can just do all kinds of stuff and just, it's just amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. So I want to share with you a couple of the pictures that I did back when I first started coloring. This was one of my first coloring pages also. I did this one with like gel pens and markers, and I got a bad set of markers too. From this same pencil line, I bought the 36 markers also, and they were horrible. They were horrible. They were streaky. They were water-based, and it was just, I thought I was the worst colorist in the world. So guys, you can improve in your coloring. So this is my first picture. This is my second picture. And this picture, you see I dated it 7/24/17. So that was like, let's see, 15 days later. this is when I got my Prismacolor Scholar pencils. And I was so thrilled, so excited. It says my first good pencil, Prismascolor 48. Guys, when I did this picture, I thought I was just it. I was like, this is it. So the pencil does matter. The quality of the pencil does matter. This is a cheaper student set, but I was so happy that 15 days later, I could achieve this. They were able to blend better. They laid down better. I was just like, oh yes. And then this one, I think I did these with the Prismacolor Scholars also. Yes. These were on July the 14th. Yes. And then this one was on July the 17th, and this one was on July the 10th. So I was really, really happy, you know, with my coloring once I got a decent set of pencils. Those first sets had me just stressed out, guys. I mean, absolutely stressed out. Then my coloring went from this to this. Now I have my Prismacolor Scholars. I have my Tritone pencils. And, you know, this looks a little bit better. I did the background with some Crayola chalk, colored chalk. And I'm going to share that secret with you in a future video. And I love the way that this came out because I had a little bit better pencil. So guys, that is what that was. And then here I finally broke the mold, guys. Maybe like a year later, I found books that I enjoy. I found supplies that I enjoyed. And this is my result. I'm starting to get better at coloring because I have better supplies and I enjoy the supplies that I'm using, and I'm enjoying the scenes in the pictures, or the scenes in the books, the pictures in the books. So I'm experimenting now here with stickles and my, what do you call that? Kuretake metallic paints. Gamzai Tambi metallic paints. And I'm experimenting with, let's see, liquid pearls and my tritones and, you know, different kinds of pencils. And it just made a world of difference when I started to get pencils and paints and different things that I enjoyed actually using. So, you know, this is how my coloring kind of evolved. You know, this is one of my first colorings here when I used my 12 set of polychromos. I could not afford to buy polychromos, so I just got a little 12 set. And I think at the time they were only like $15, $12 for the 12 set on eBay. And I only used a little 12 set on this picture along with my tritones and a few other pencils. And it was just like, I loved it, guys. It was amazing. You know, I used the Deli color pencils, the Starjoy Deli 72 pencils on this page. And I used a few other pencils that I didn't usually use. And let me show you another page that I used the Deli, Starjoy Deli pencils on. Where are you, page? I know you're in here. Well, anyway, I'll just show you this one. This was my second time using the Tritone pencils, and I was able to color the wood, and I used mostly Prismacolor on this page because I was absolutely loving my Prismacolors at that time. Oh my goodness, my Prismacolors was just like, they were life, guys. My coloring, it grew so much from those Prismacolors, you know, by using the Prismacolor Premier and the Scholars. They really helped me to become a better colorist. So now that's like my favorite pencil of choice to use. Here's a, no, not that one. Here's another early picture of me using my Prismacolors. And I was able to try to color the wood with the Prismacolors. And I just, oh my goodness, I enjoyed this picture so much. And let's see, oh, here it is. This is the other picture that I use the Starjoy Deli pictures on. And you can find this video on my channel where I demonstrate how I did the floor and the rugs and different things. But I use the Starjoy Deli pencils on the sofa, not sofa, I'm sorry, on the chairs and on the curtains here. And I really, really enjoyed this one. This was just, oh my goodness, I had so much fun with this one. And this, of course, you saw this on my finished pages. I did this one recently, most recent. So look at the difference. What 3 years have made in coloring. Can you see that, guys? Do you see that? I went from here to here. Okay? So I'm going to leave you guys with this thought. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Dory from Finding Nemo. Keep going, guys. Just keep going. You know, don't let anyone downgrade your pictures or say, well, that's not beautiful because you didn't use Prismas, or that's not beautiful because it's basic straight coloring. Or don't let them make you feel bad because you don't have Prismas, or you can't afford the shuttle arts and you can only afford Crayola. That is fine. That is perfectly fine. But like my tip number 1 says, if you can help it, if you can afford $10 more, get a little better quality budget pencil than the kids line budget pencil. So that you won't be deceived into thinking this is as good as your coloring can get because the pencils or the markers are streaky and horrible. And you think, hey, that's who I am. No. Try, guys. Keep trying. Keep watching videos like this one, you know, to show you that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You can make it happen. Yes, you can. Your coloring can become whatever you make it. And I'm here to show you guys how I went from, you know, this to this. So stay tuned, guys. There's so much to come for this channel in 2021. It's just gonna, I want you to know how I went from step A to step B and how to do it quick and easy. So check out the playlist. Keep checking it because more videos are going to be added to it every week, every month. And it's going to become a huge playlist that's going to share and show you how you can achieve beautiful and easy coloring in a few easy, simple steps. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, hanging out with me. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for letting me ramble and ramble or ramble. You guys are the best, absolute best. So if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a big old thumbs up. If you enjoy adult coloring, please give this video a big old thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That lets me and YouTube know that this channel needs to stick around a lot longer and keep doing what it needs to do and keep doing what it's doing, guys. And don't forget to ring that bell because you don't want to miss the next episode. It's coming tomorrow. Thank you again, guys. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. And as always, happy coloring. Bye.